You'd think winning the Hunger Games would be the end of the fight, right? Well, for Katniss Everdeen, it was really just the beginning. Let's dive into the brutal final moments of the 74th Games and the incredibly dangerous victory that came after. And that quote, that really says it all. This is what victory felt like for Katniss. Because winning didn't mean she was safe. It meant she was now in a brand new game, one that was far, far more dangerous than the arena. So let's start at the end of the games, the final battle. It's all happening at the Cornucopia, where our last three tributes, Katniss, Peeta, and Cato, are about to get a nasty surprise from the Capitol.
As night falls, the game makers unleash their final move, a pack of grotesque, wolf-like creatures they call mutations. But you've got to understand, these aren't just attack dogs. They are a form of psychological torture, designed specifically for a terrifying final act.
And this is where it gets truly horrifying. Katniss realizes these creatures were made using the DNA of the dead tributes. She sees Glimmer's eyes staring back at her. She recognizes fur that looks like fox faces, and the smallest mutt is a haunting reminder of little Rue. It's just unbelievably cruel. So picture this. They're on top of the cornucopia in this tense stalemate. Cato has Peeta in a headlock, which means Katniss has an impossible shot. Then, in this moment of just pure desperation and genius, Peeta manages to draw an X on Cato's hand, giving Katniss the one tiny target she needs. But Cato's death isn't quick. Oh no. The game makers turn it into a prolonged, agonizing spectacle for the audience. Katniss and Peeta are forced to listen to his screams all night long. By the time dawn breaks, Katniss uses her last arrow not out of vengeance, but out of pity, just to make it stop. Just when it seems like they've finally won, the game makers pull their cruelest trick yet. And this leads to an act of rebellion that nobody saw coming. With Cato gone, they think it's over. They've won. But then, an announcement booms through the arena. That rule change, the one that said 2 tributes from the same district could win, yeah, that's been canceled. In one final, cruel twist, the Capitol makes them enemies again. This is where Katniss makes a brilliant strategic pivot. The game makers want a dramatic, bloody finale. But Katniss has a sudden realization about their fatal flaw. The games have to have a winner. She understands in that moment that the Capitol needs a victor more than it needs to enforce its own rules. So she pulls out a handful of those poisonous nightlock berries. It's the ultimate power move. She and Peeta are calling the Capitol's bluff on live television. Just as they raise the berries to their lips, you hear Claudius Templesmith's frantic voice, screaming for them to stop, declaring an unprecedented joint victory. They didn't just win the game, they broke it. But that act of defiance, that forced victory, it wasn't the end of the story. Not by a long shot. It was actually the beginning of a much more dangerous political game. The second they're on the hovercraft, the true cost of the arena comes crashing down. Peeta collapses and is rushed into surgery. Katniss is so frantic they have to sedate her. When she finally wakes up, she's been perfectly healed by Capitol doctors, only to find out they couldn't save Peeta's leg. The games have permanently scarred him. And then Haymitch hits her with a chilling warning. The Capitol is furious. They don't see the berries as an act of love. They see it as an act of public defiance that made them look weak and foolish. Her only way out now, he says, is to convince everyone she's just a silly, lovesick girl who couldn't bear to live without her boy. And that's when it finally sinks in for Katniss. Her actions haven't just put her in danger, they've endangered everyone she's ever cared about. Her mother, her sister, Gale, all of District 12. The arena was just the training ground. The real game is just getting started. Because of this new danger, every public appearance, every interview, every smile is now a performance for survival. It's this high-stakes tightrope walk between love and lies. Even her stylist, Cinna, gets it. He completely understands the threat. So for her victory interview, he designs a dress that's the total opposite of the girl on fire. It's simple, innocent, and girlish. It's a calculated costume, designed to sell one idea. She's too in love to be a rebel. At the crowning ceremony, Katniss comes face to face with President Snow. And yeah, he's smiling for the cameras, but up close, his eyes are as cold and unforgiving as a snake's. She gets the message loud and clear. He's not buying her act, and she's going to pay for what she did. On the train ride home, That whole carefully built story starts to fall apart. In public, for the cameras, they are the star-crossed lovers from District 12. But in private, they're just two traumatized kids, and the performance is starting to crack. The illusion completely shatters when Katniss admits that Haymitch had coached her to play up the romance. For Peeta, who believed every bit of it was real, this is absolutely devastating. He starts to see their entire connection as just a strategy to win. And Peeta's question just highlights all the emotional wreckage. He's not even angry. He's just hollow. The boy with the bread, the one who gave her hope, is slipping away, and she has no idea how to get him back. Which leaves us with this central, haunting question. Katniss and Peeta may have won the 74th Hunger Games, but their victory has just thrown them into a brand new arena, one with no rules and even higher stakes. They survived the fight to the death, but now they have to survive the Capitol itself.